What is going on, Twitch and YouTube? Welcome to episode 8 of the U.S.S. Cerritos tutorial. I'm Zero Elite, and I just want to thank you very much for tuning into today's episode. And if you haven't, please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button and helping me in supporting the channel. I can't thank you enough for that. And today we have about a 36-minute video. We've got some stuff to work on. We're going to be picking up where we left off from episode 7. Continuing work on our pylons. We're going to get some work on that for a good bit. And then we're going to get some extra work done on or I should say the pylons, the struts that hold the engines, but we'll start with the engines themselves. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into it. We still need to build the front piece for this section of the engines because we haven't even fully built out the front of the engines yet, but we really just have to continue or finish building the housing for them. So we have the front end outlined and wireframed. So at this point, it's just a matter of coming up with something that's going to work. The easiest solution is really just to really not try to reshape the wheel here, and we're just going to work with what we already have. So we have a side outline, and we have a thickness uh, already established. So really what we're going to do at this point is just merge it together. And we're going to start off with this top row. We're just going to add a couple of layers out until we get the same thickness as the row behind it. We're going to do the same thing on the left side engine, and you can see that I'm just building out off of our existing line right here, but I'm not building any further out. And as far as how far we're going to come back, I'm only building that out the actual thickness of the previous row behind it. So that's something that you should definitely be doing too. One thing I do suggest anytime that you're building something on a ship, um, think of it like this: if you cut your ship in half, and if the left side matches the right side, then what you want to do is, if you make a change on the left side, makes sense to hop over to the right side and make that same change. And this is going to help you from save you from making mistakes, I should say. So anyway, now we're going to move down our wireframe, and we're going to make the rest of this top line 3D. We're going to do the same thing on both the left side and the right side of this engine. Once we're done with that, we'll hop over to the actual right engine and do the same thing. But this is really the best way to do it. Wireframing your ship out from beginning to end is a great way to see, what works, how the dimensions are going to look, and you could start kind of piecing it together, kind of how I'm doing right now. You can see I'm doing it very gingerly. I'm only adding a little bit at a time. And one of the reasons I'm doing this is, for whatever reason, if I don't like it, I could always make that whatever change we need to make to it. So far, we're looking pretty good. We have a couple more rows to do on the right side engine, and then we'll be done with this top piece. Then we'll just have to build out the sides for it. You see I'm just matching the thickness of the previous rows. So far, we're looking pretty good. And if you're following me on Twitch, I definitely appreciate that. Check out my YouTube channel, youtube.com/c/Zero Elite. I greatly appreciate that. You can always catch my new Minecraft episodes Tuesdays through Fridays. Typically, they drop around 10 a.m. Eastern Time. So you can see now I'm going down a level. I'm following the previous row that we have established, and I'm just bringing that all the way up to the cut. So far, we're looking pretty good. We're gonna have to bring that in one, but for right now, let's do the other side. Could have had it cut in, but at this point, I'm just following off the rule. If I do one thing on one side, I'm going to do it on the other. Just way both engines stay completely consistent. I don't want to get, oh, I need to go up one. I don't want to get too far ahead on my engines to the point where I'm constantly going back to the other one just to see what changes I made. So now we're going to do the cut in, and then we're going to go up to the next cut. The same thing on this side. We're going to go in, with access, and just go up to the next cut. You see, following it this way, going off the cuts, it almost kind of builds itself. And we might have to layer it out just a little bit, but I think this is actually going to work out pretty good. So that's something I definitely like to do with my builds. You're not going to see a lot of random blocks. I really try to keep a pattern as much as I possibly can on my ships where I can. And lining your ship up with the cuts, that's definitely a great way to keep your ship looking nice and clean. We're just going to build past that blue line. That's our marker. We're going to get rid of that when we're done working on this area. All right, so let's do the same thing on this right side engine now. We're looking pretty good. All right. Now both right and left side are matching up pretty good. We just got to fill in the sides a little bit down here to get that angle, and then we'll be done with the actual frame of the engine. We'll just have to build out the front of it. And then after that, we'll have to get some detailing done. You right, Leo? Probably couldn't hear that in the headphones. My cat was sneezing. And you can see how I did that. I started off the top block going at an angle, and I brought it all the way out until we hit the outer wall of the side of our engine. And I'm going to use that as a marker just to build it all the way down. I didn't actually bring that block out far enough that I should have. I was actually one short. So that's something we want to make sure to keep an eye on as well, that it's the thickness that it needs to be. This is all just attention to detail. Now you can see all these rows, I'm bringing them up to one length. Now that's not really a big deal because in a moment what I'm going to end up doing is shaving them back so this way they match that middle row right there. And we just got the bottom half to do, and then we'll be in pretty good shape. We'll have to do the same thing on the other side, and then we'll just trim them down. All right, we're looking good. So now we're going to do the same thing on this right side engine. And while we're repeating that same process, I want to take this time. I've had a few people ask me about what my next build on Minecraft is going to be. I've had a couple people ask me if I'm going to do the Discovery A. I've had a couple of people asking for the Enterprise E. I've been having a bunch of people ask me for the Enterprise D. I definitely plan on, after I'm done with the Cerritos, my next build is for sure going to be the Enterprise D. After that, I'm not really sure what I'm going to do. I kind of want to play it by ear and see where I'm going to land on that. Um, but I do know that I want to wait. Well, put it this way: I know that I'm going to build the Discovery A. I'm just not 100% sure on when that's going to happen. And the reason for that is because I've actually been already doing the research for it, and I've begun the process of accumulating screenshots and reference material. And at this point, I just don't have enough screenshots to where I feel that I can build an accurate ship. So really what I need at this point is either a 3D model of one that I can look at online, or a physical model, whichever one I can get my hands on first. Um, More than likely, though, I don't think it'll be too long before that comes out. I think that'll be right around the corner. I think once this season, once they've probably gone through the rest of the season of Discovery, and there's a couple more screenshots of that ship, I think we'll probably be in a better position to start getting that stuff. And as soon as that happens, then you can definitely expect me to build one, because at this point, it's something I really want to do, but um, I've technically already built the Discovery, but the Discovery A is almost a different ship. The refit, the stuff that they change on it, they made a couple of pretty neat changes. But I want to make sure that if I'm going to go through and rebuild the ship, that I'm going to do it right. So that's one of the reasons why I want to wait to build the Discovery A. But it's definitely going to happen, and another ship that I've had people asking me about, of course, Enterprise Z, which I mentioned. That's going to be a ship that I'm going to do. Voyager. Um, Another ship that I'm planning on doing, not on Minecraft, but on Starship Evo. I can talk about it now. More than likely, at some point soon, I'm going to build the Enterprise, or not the Enterprise, the U.S.S. Voyager J. That was in one of the future episodes from Discovery. I got a bunch of screenshots from that. I got enough screenshots of that ship that I'm confident that I can build it accurately on there. I'm still going to do the regular Voyager on Minecraft, though. I just don't know if it'll be in what order it's going to be coming, because I've been doing these ships at this point long enough to know that I don't want to get too far down the list of what ships I'm going to promise, because once I'm done with this ship, my attitude toward, or how I'm feeling, can completely change. But I know enough that at this point that I'm going to do the Enterprise D, because one of the main reasons I'm building the Cerritos is because it's so similar to the Enterprise D in a lot of ways. I've talked about this a little bit in the past, and we'll get back on that a little bit here in a moment. I do want to talk a little bit more about what I got going on here. While I was talking here, you can see that I added the cuts in the sides of the front of our engines. I base that off the middle line that we already had built in the very middle of our engines, right there going down. And at this point, all the access coming forward, we just got rid of that. So that's going to give us that nice, beautiful, clean cut on the sides. So this way we can build the housing for the front piece for our engines when we put those in. But no, anyway, getting back into it, I know that I'm going to do the Enterprise D. And I'm really looking forward to that ship. I'm pretty confident after doing the Cerritos that I'll be able to pull it off, because I've said it a couple of times. Up until this point, I wasn't sure that I was going to be able to build Enterprise D and have it come out really good. I've seen few people do it legitimately, and it looked really good. But between doing the mock tutorial and then also prepping this build, I'm pretty confident that I'll be able to do it. And if you're new to my Twitch channel, go to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/C/0 Elite, and check out episode 1 of the U.S.S. Cerrito build if you want to get a sneak peek of what the finished ship actually looks like, because I do show it in the beginning of this tutorial series. So you can definitely check that out. But moving on here, now we're going to start working on our pylons, the pieces that hold our engines. We're going to be working on the outside layer of them right now. And we're literally just going to be adding an extra row. And in the back, we're doing 2 by 2. So we're going to leave one block on the very end. We're probably going to adjust that. We might mess with that a little bit. But as of right now, I think that's what we're going to stick with. Or maybe we're going to make a couple of changes. I don't know. At this point, the trick of it, because of the shape that these pylons are angled, it's going to be a little bit tricky to get them to line up right. So you know what? We're going to actually just bring it all the way back to the existing line, and then what we can do to because basically what's going to happen with this block coming all the way back now, with it being too high, it's going to look a little bit weird. But what we can do to fix that is we can actually add pinstriping on the back edge of the pylon, so this way it doesn't necessarily look like it's too high, if that makes sense. There'll be a different color block there to basically split it up while it's going up at that angle. So anyway, let's finish up the rest of this side, and then we're going to do we have to do the rest of the front half, and then we're going to hop over to the left side and do that as well. So far we're looking pretty good. But you're definitely going to get that when you're building these ships from scratch. You're just going to have situations where you're going to have to make a couple of changes here and there. But I think that'll work. Adding the way that we're thickening it up now, if we add a layer of pinstripe on the outer edges of the pylon, I don't think it'll look weird at all. I think it'll blend in nicely. It looks weird right now, but that's only because it's double of the same color, and we're working with a white concrete right now. In fact, all my ships at this point, I pretty much just use the white concrete because it's the cleanest block to use, in my opinion. Unless you're trying to get a specific texture, that's really the only other time that I'll deviate. And then, like for example, when I built the Enterprise A from Star Trek Beyond, I used white quartz, and that gave it like that nice texturing where I didn't have to like build out all the Aztec hull plating for it. All right, so we want to make sure that we're building this in the same way that we built the right side pylon. So this is going to be 3 thick on the back side, going all the way back and down. We're making pretty good progress on the Cerritos. We've gotten a lot done in a short period of time. Before you know it, we're going to be working on the interior, and we'll be done with this thing, and then working on the Enterprise D. Um, I feel like there's still a whole bunch of things to do. I'm probably going to be getting on Minecraft this weekend, uh, more than likely to start working on the interior a little bit more. And when I do that, you can definitely catch me streaming that, because I'll be streaming everything that I do from this point out on Minecraft, whether it's a new video to upload on YouTube or whether I'm doing a live capture. I'll be streaming that as well. But the only times, if you are looking to get a schedule for my Twitch streams, you can always definitely catch new videos Sunday through Thursday between 9 and 10 p.m. Eastern. I do stream a lot in between that, before and after, but that's the times that I'm definitely going to be on. I've been on a lot in the last couple of days. I've been streaming a couple of different games, and if you all have been enjoying that, let me know in the comments section. Let me know what videos you like so I can keep those going. And if there are any other games you want to see me play, let me know in the comments section as well. So, all right, what we're going to do now is we're going to take off the front block of every row. And we're going to do this on both sides, and then we're either going to replace that with a gray block, or we'll do a gray block behind that. I haven't decided yet. What I'm trying to figure out right now is what my next move is going to be, because there's literally 101 million ways that you can build out a starship. And I'm not saying that my way is the right way. Quite the opposite, in fact. This is just what I've done, and the process that I take in order to get something that looks like it's supposed to look on Minecraft. But especially when you're building these ships from scratch, sometimes you just got to throw something down, take a step back, look at it, and see if it looks good. And if it looks right, cool, move on. If it looks like crap, take it down and do it again, you know? Um, or unless like you're that doesn't really matter, like if you're happy enough, move on. But I'm the type of person that I try to get as close to the best that I can get out of it that I can. I'm not a super perfectionist, but I do definitely go for to get the best possible look that I can do. Because that's definitely a thing too, when you're building on Minecraft, because sometimes it doesn't always transition well into Minecraft, and you have to make a couple of design changes here and there just to make it work. And another thing I'm looking at too is how that cuts, to see if I did the dark gray on the row behind, if that would look good with the one block kind of going like in an L like that. I mean, it doesn't look horrible, but I think maybe the way to go is just the blocks that we just replaced in that front row there, just to do with the light gray concrete. I'm trying to get a gauge for the underside. We're going back by one block, and we're just going to be going with the angled cut all the way up. Now, at this point, we're going to be 3 blocks deep on our pylons. We can't go anything more than that, not on this scale. And that's one of the reasons why we're not going to be able to build turbo lifts going down from the saucer section to the lower hull. But somebody commented in the comment section, and they let me know about the command blocks. And somebody had told me about this a while ago, and I completely forgot about it. And I never even attempted it, but teleporting with the command blocks. So that's something I'm going to mess with, and I think that would actually be a nice, easy compromise to get around it. But unless you built this ship, I would say it would probably need to be at least twice the size that it currently is, if not more, to make it big enough to where you can have a janky staircase going down at an angle, go all the way down. But once I get the command blocks in, I'll have like a turbo lift shaft up here, and then I'll have one down here in the lower hull, and it'll be on both sides to give the impression that we go from the upper hull down in turbo lift to the lower, and it'll look pretty cool. Now, the one problem I'm going to run into adding this extra row on the underside is the thickness. Well, through the cut is what I should say, because you need to be careful on how that's going to angle out. So what I'm going to do to get around that is I'm just going to continue on building gingerly, very, very carefully, just a little bit at a time, and maybe just do a couple of rows. If it doesn't look good, then we'll take it down. Be honest with you, I could almost get away with having it being too thick. So we're going to do the back end corner going all the way up at an angle. We're just going to do 1 block on each row in the bottom corner until we get up to the top, which would be that blue line going across. Now see, I don't know if that's going to look right. Which is one of the reasons why we need to throw stuff down, take a look at it. Because to me, what I see right there is a bunch of L's. which is kind of going to bug me. Now, one of the things I talked about before, one of the things that we can do is add that pinstriping going along the lip here on the top side or bottom, one or the other, and it wouldn't look as bad. But I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. Haven't given up yet on the adding one more row of thickness, but I don't know if putting that last block on that row is the way to go about it. But we still have about 10 minutes left in this episode. We've shot through the first 25 minutes, so we still have a little bit left to do before that's going to wrap up episode 8 today. Almost wondering, maybe just adding that block in the dark gray like I'm doing right now, going all the way up, just as a way to look at it is the better way to do this. Because I've mentioned it a couple of times doing this pinstripe going up, but with it being there and being able to look at it now, I think that's going to work out a little bit better. And when we're done with this, and you see I'm just doing it off the last row, we're going to go all the way up until we get to the last white concrete, and then we're going to stop. We could do that blue one, but at that point we're at the hull, so it really doesn't matter, that last row. You can see how that's switches it up. Instead of it looking like it's too high, like that lighter color really makes a difference as opposed to the darker gray right above it. It's all right. We banged that out on the left side, so now we're going to repeat that same process, but on the right side. Going by that rule, if we do one thing on one side, do it on the other to keep us consistent and to stop us from making any mistakes. So far, we're looking pretty good. Yeah, see, and adding that in the front row off the block that we had previously deleted, that's going to be the way to go. Because if it looks good in the back, it'll look good in the front. All right, so let's do that now on the left side pylon. And see, just that subtle change like that, it really makes it look a lot different. It almost even makes it look like they're not in the same row. It almost looks like the gray is maybe one block back, which is exactly the look that I wanted. I did not want that cut in the front to look like it was too high. Because we want that to look as thin as possible because the Cerritos, the pylons, I mean, they're not very thick. And we can get away with that on the underside too. Because what that should do now is give the illusion of a nice clean line going straight up at an angle. Yeah, see that looks clean. So let's do the same thing on the left side now. Almost looks like I did it on purpose. I missed from one row. Let's fix that real quick. All right, we're looking pretty good. Yeah, see those two lines there with the gray, that, I mean, that really helps bring out the front end of the pylon now, where it doesn't look super thick now, you know? So now we can totally get away with the pylon being 3 thick and it doesn't even look like it. Now the real challenge is going to be how we can do that on the backside. Is that even going to be possible? That last one we're not going to be able to do. So I'm just going to throw it down. I mean, the worst that could happen is that, I mean, it doesn't look good. And if it doesn't look good, I'll just take it down. It looks good enough. It looks good enough that we're going to apply the same thing now to the left side, or excuse me, the right side. Got one more. And I'm thinking at this point, maybe this cut, I want to make it slightly smaller. So we're just going to add one row on the back side of the cut going all the way up. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. And one of the reasons I'm doing this is not necessarily that the cut is super big, but that the back end, this piece, it doesn't have enough, I don't feel like it has enough length to it to where adding another row would look good without it looking just like a bunch of uh, globs of blocks. I mean, at least to me anyway. So a way around that, because I don't want to make them any longer in the back. So I'm just going to add another row or two in the front here. I think no more than two, we can get away with that. Um, I'm going to do a row now of the lighter gray concrete in front of that. So this way we have our established gray cut line, just like we did before. And then I'll get rid of the old line that we have, which is 2 blocks back. Could even leave that as just being another hull detail line. It wouldn't look bad. So all right, we're rocking. Got a couple more rows to do. When this is done, we're going to zoom out, take a look at it, make sure everything looks good. I think at this point, I'm going to get rid of this extra hull line. If you want to leave this one, if you think it looks good on your pylon, feel free to do so. You don't have to follow every single step I take. And you're going to see that from time to time during this tutorial because I build these ships in real time, the screen captures. I don't edit really anything out of the video unless I'm adding a couple of videos together. Um, so what you're seeing is really what I did. So if you don't agree with the change that I made, don't change it, because that change that I made right there is purely cosmetic. It's not going to affect the design of the ship in any way. We got a couple more rows to do. And let's clean these lines up down here. Really only need to take out one, so this way that slant continues. Yeah, she's looking real clean. I like the progress that I'm making. Before you know it, we're going to be adding the hull on the saucer section, and we'll be doing the lower hull as well. But I think that's about going to cover it for today's episode. Gotten a lot done. I like the progress that we're making. And if you did enjoy today's video and you're following me on Twitch, or if you're watching me on Twitch, if you can please hit that follow button, I would greatly appreciate it. And don't forget on Twitch that you can always catch my new streams Sundays through Thursdays between 9 and 10 p.m. Eastern. And be sure to follow me on youtube.com/c/Zero Elite. In fact, you can always catch my new Starship Evo builds on Mondays and my new Minecraft videos Tuesdays through Fridays. And be sure, if you're on YouTube, to follow me on twitch.tv/Zero Elite. Anyway, that's going to wrap it up for me. I just want to thank everybody again for tuning into today's video. Hope everybody has a happy and safe week, and I'll catch you on the next episode.